Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. Today I am going to be filming a Last Now Next, which is basically just a video where I talk about the books I read recently, the book I'm currently reading, and the books that I'm planning on reading next. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. So the first book that I want to talk about is Problematic Summer Romance by Hazelwood. I rated this book 4 stars, and this book follows our main character Maya, and Maya has had feelings for Connor for a very long time. Connor is her brother's best friend. He's 15 years older than she is, and the two of them, Connor and Maya, have had like a friendship of sorts, a little bit more. Obviously she's harbored these feelings for him, and something happened. We don't know what happened, but they have basically had a falling out. So they are, in this book, going to her brother Eli's wedding, and yes, it's Eli from Not in Love, also by Hazelwood, which I recommend reading first, but you definitely don't have to. Like, this book definitely stands on its own. So she's going to her brother's wedding in Sicily, and who is there? Of course, Connor, Eli's best friend, and the two of them have to kind of come to terms with what they were. The setting of this book is beautiful. You will feel so immersed in Sicily, like it's like you're there. It is so stunning, and it does a really good job of kind of talking about some of the things that might happen in an age gap relationship. People say that this book is taboo. It definitely, to me, doesn't read as a taboo book. It might be a taboo book for Hazelwood because of the age gap, but honestly, it's very good. The two characters are really aligned in a lot of things, and you see them falling in love. So that's the first book that I read, Problematic Summer Romance by Hazelwood, and like I said, 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. Up next, I read the next 2 books in the Bonds That Tie series by Bree. So I read Savage Bonds, and I also read Blood Bonds. So that's books 2 and 3. I rated Savage Bonds 4.5 stars, and I rated Blood Bonds 4 stars. So let's talk about this series, because I'm fully obsessed and I can't wait to pick up the next one. I seriously don't know why I haven't picked it up yet. It's just hasn't happened for me. Basically, it follows our main character, Ollie, and she basically has spent the last 5 years essentially on the run. Her mother and her mother's bonds have tragically passed away, and so she's on the run. And she has a lot of fear because of what her power is. Well, eventually she gets captured and she gets returned to her bonds. She has 5 bonds, I believe 5. She has 5 bonds, and they all are like super powerful, protective men who have a lot at stake in the world. And so she kind of has to pretend that she has no powers because she doesn't want them to discover how dangerous her power is. And so they're all kind of like annoyed with her. Well, not all of them. There is one of her bonds, Atlas, who is like really nice to her. And other ones, obviously, like the relationships grow and grow throughout the books as you keep reading and keep reading. But I am super enjoying this series. It's a really, really, really fun romantasy series. If you like reverse harem books, then you will probably enjoy this. The powers in here are really cool. All of the characters are either likable or hateable. Like some of the bonds that she has, like you will love to hate them type of deal. Like they're like enemies type of thing, enemies to lovers, but you have a little bit of everything, like friends to lovers. You kind of get it all with this series, and I'm really, really enjoying reading it. So those are the next 2 books that I read. The next book that I finished is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. And this book is by far a 5-star book. I absolutely adored every single second of this book. It was so incredible. So it's described as toxic lesbian vampires, and that definitely does a good job describing it. So this book follows 3 different timelines. So our first timeline is a character named Maria, and she lives in 16th century Spain, and Maria is a woman who she wants the best essentially for her life. She is born into this really oppressive society where men kind of have to like rule over the women, and so she wants a way to live her best life. She meets this woman named Sabine who takes her down a path that she can't really return from. So that's one of our characters. The next character that we have is Charlotte, who lives in London in the 1800s. And she's going through a situation where she was involved in a scandal with her best friend. And so she's kind of dealing with the repercussions of that when she meets this young woman who, again, kind of alters the trajectory of her life. And then finally we have Alice, and Alice lives in present day. Well, I think she's in like 2019, but essentially present day in Boston, and she's at college. And again, she meets a woman who has a big role in her life. As you can see, there's a theme, and I think it's pretty evident that the theme is vampires, right? Like they're all going to become vampires or relate to vampires in some way. Vampires come into play. And I just recommend that's really all you need to know. Like you barely even need to know that. Toxic lesbian vampires is essentially all you need to know. This book is just so good. V.E. Schwab knows how to write a book that is right up my alley. I'm so into this. Then the next book I read is another book that I rated 5 stars, and that is One Day Everyone Will Have Always Been Against This. This is a nonfiction, basically like collection of essays by our author who relates them all to kind of the how do I say this? Like the disillusionment of like Western liberalism versus what's happening in Gaza and with the Israel-Palestinian conflict. So it really does a really good job of walking you through kind of the issues that are going on in the world revolving around this, and it truly, it's beautifully written. It really, like, I listened to it as an audiobook, and the audiobook is absolutely phenomenal. Like, you will learn a lot from this book, and even if you like think that you know everything, hearing it from the perspective of a Palestinian is just really, really special. So I definitely would recommend this book to pretty much everyone on earth. Next up is another 5-star book, but completely different vein, and that is Rose in Chains by Julie Soto. This is a book that I checked out from the library, but that I will absolutely be purchasing my own copy because I am that obsessed with it. So if you are a Dramini stan like I am, and you read The Auction on AO3, then you will find this book very familiar, because this is basically, Julie Soto is the author of The Auction, and she rewrote it to obviously take out everything that has to do with Harry Potter, and she changed it in a way that's like super, super understandable and approachable, but it doesn't feel like Harry Potter in the slightest. So basically, this book follows our main character, Bryony, and Bryony is a princess, and her brother was essentially prophesized to kind of like save the world because there's been a war going on for many years, but her brother gets killed, and so basically they lose the war, and Bryony is taken captive. She's stripped of all of her magical powers, and she's basically auctioned off to be somebody's heart. I think it's called a heartstring or a heart bond. Oh, it's called a heart spring, to be somebody's heart spring, and basically be like a source of power for somebody else. And because she is a princess, she is kind of like sold for like tons of money, and she's very, very special kind of in this world. And this book was just so incredible. I cannot wait for book 2. Like, I'm seriously so excited for book 2. I absolutely loved Rose in Chains. Julie Soto is quickly becoming one of my favorite authors. I've read all of her books that she's published so far, and I just love every single one of them, and this book is no different. This is her romantasy debut, and it's just absolutely incredible. If you're a romantasy girly who loves like dark stories, then you will absolutely eat this up. It's so good. Then the next book I read, actually I also rated 5 stars. It's a 5-star type of reading month for me, I guess. So the next book I read was Wedding Dashers, and I checked this one out from my library, which is why I don't have my copy anymore. I had to return it. But Wedding Dashers was so fun. It was the perfect rom-com, which was exactly what I was looking for. So it follows our main character, Ada, and Ada, her sister is getting married in Ireland. So Ada flies out to London, and her connecting flight gets canceled. So she's kind of stuck there, where she meets this guy named Jack, and they kind of hit it off. They go to the hotel room together, and essentially the next morning they find out that they're actually heading to the same exact wedding, and they don't like each other. And so they have to find a way to get from London all the way to her sister's wedding in Ireland. And it's just such a fun story of the two of them kind of falling for each other, but also trying to figure out a way to get from one place to the next. It's seriously such a fun book. I highly recommend this one. And the last book that I read and want to talk about is Keeping 13 by Chloe Walsh. What else can I say? This book had me sobbing. What's new? This series is just breaking me bit by bit by bit. I actually took quite a while to read this one. I was mostly listening to it on audio, but I finished the last bit of it physically, and it's just so emotional and raw and real. It follows our main characters, Johnny and Shannon just basically has this terrible, terrible home life, and Johnny has this like perfect home life, but he's also going through some things, like he has to get surgery, he's a rugby player, like this, that, and other thing. So they both have things that are difficult in their lives, but they come together and they just have the most beautiful love story. It's so incredible. This is the second book in the series, and I can't wait to read the next books in this series. Like it's just so good. It means so much to me already. So next, let's talk about the book that I am currently reading, and that is The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. I am 238 pages into it, and I am absolutely enjoying it. It's a lot different than I was expecting it to be, but I really, really am enjoying my time with this book. So this book basically follows a summer camp, as it's kind of like upturned because one of the campers, Barbara, has gone missing, and Barbara's parents own this summer camp. So it's a really, really big deal. And not to mention, her brother also disappeared like 13 years ago or something like that. So the family has a history of losing their children. So it's really, really gut-wrenching and awful. But we follow tons of POVs in this book. It's very detailed. It's very atmospheric. Like, I am really, really enjoying this book, and I can't wait to see how it ends, and I will obviously tell you what I think of it when I finish it. Now, what I plan on reading next. Next, I think I'm gonna go ahead and read Direbound by Sable Sorenson. And all I know is that this is essentially described as Fourth Wing, but with wolves instead of dragons, which I'm super into. I'm really in my romantasy bag right now. Like, it's so good. So that is the first book that I want to read. And then I also want to read Set Piece. This will be my first 831 Stories romance, and I'm super excited to get into this one. At this point, I own every single one that's been published, and I haven't even read one yet. So I need to kind of get on that, but I am super excited to read this one. And with that being said, those are the books that I've read recently, the book I'm reading now, and the next books that I want to read, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found something new to read today, and I will talk to you later. Bye.